Hi, this is Kimberly. This is a synopsis of Chapter 4 of the book Letters from Christopher, Tragic Confessions of the Watts Family Murders. This book's by Sherilyn Cadle, and the chapter is entitled The Watts Side of the Story. This chapter starts off with what I thought was the whole bridal shower gate thing, but this describes it as being the engagement party, where Jamie, aka Sarah, as in Cindy's manuscript, offered to help by addressing and mailing the invitations. I could have sworn it was one of the two bridal showers Shanann had, so I looked it up in Cindy's book. Cindy did say that it was the first of two bridal showers, but then Mrs. Rusick called it an engagement party in the discovery. And if you'll recall in Cindy's book, she was responding to Mrs. Rusick's statement in the discovery. So maybe I'm overthinking this, or a bridal shower and engagement party, one and the same. It's been a long time since I got married, and I didn't have all of that, so I don't know. But the main point is there was a whole controversy of whether or not the invitations were mailed out. Now, I've found this to be kind of boring because I already know about this part, and there weren't enough new details added to it. I kind of want to get back to the juicy stuff of being kinky and dark, but we do find out why Cindy, Ronnie, and Jamie, and the rest of Chris's family, except for his grandmother and uncle, did not attend the wedding. But I'm not going to spoil it. Or rather, the author wouldn't appreciate me spilling all of the tea, but at least it's a new tidbit. We're given a few sentences of that explanation, but it seems that Jamie and Shanann had words about a week before the wedding. And I want more details. I'm starting to think that Mrs. Cadle doesn't know how to gossip. I'm sure there's a whole thing about why the Watts refused to attend the wedding, but again, we only get a few sentences explaining it. However, Cindy is described now as regretting the decision of not going. But we hear the Watts side of the story about this, and they want it to be known that Jamie wasn't there, and everything told about Jamie was simply untrue. And then I'm not sure if this is a typo, but when they seem to be clarifying that Jamie wasn't there, there's this sentence: Jamie had dropped off her kids on her way to work, so says she was there when the ice cream came out. And I'm so confused because I think they meant to say she wasn't there when the ice cream came out, but I honestly don't know. I'll just say there were a few more details regarding this whole Nutgate incident. Then Cindy asked Shanann to leave until she got her temper under control. But this story is explained like it was just a lukewarm to a moderate difference of opinion. But I'm picturing a full-scale blowout. Quiet Ronnie felt a sense of astonishment when the quarrel ensued and quickly progressed. And I just have to wonder, what was he doing as Cindy gathered Jamie's children and left the house? And then Shanann, Bella, and Cece waited outside for Mr. Rusick to come and collect them. And then we now hear about how rough it was on poor Christopher's gentle soul, being caught in the middle of his wife, sister, and parents. But actually, I do understand that must have been extremely stressful. And Mrs. Cadle does say that Chris feels like his mother really did not believe about Cece's tree nut allergy. Then, much to my disappointment, not a single word was mentioned about razor blades being all over the house. Mrs. Cadle goes on to talk about the personality conflict that Shanann and her mother-in-law shared, and in fact, it was the same kind of discord between Chris's sister Jamie and Shanann. Cindy indicated to the author that she did not interfere in their marriage. I'm picking up that they still seem to have a lot of anger and resentment towards Shanann. The author has refused to go there. She indicates there were some cruel and hateful things said about Shanann that she chose to not put in the book, and the way it was worded made it seem like it came from the Watts family. Chris agreed with her, saying Shanann, quote-unquote, didn't deserve it. She talks about how everyone hates the Watts and how all they knew in the beginning is what their son told them. We do find out their reasons for not attending the funeral. They did hold their own private service with family and friends. And then that's pretty much it. It was a really short chapter, and it didn't excite me like Chapter 3 did. 95% of it I already knew, but in all fairness, That's going to happen when one has followed a case as closely as I have with this one. But what I don't know is the fly-on-the-wall version of Nutgate. The title of the chapter, The Watts Side of the Story, failed to meet my hopes and expectations. There were just so many holes in the story, and I know it wasn't as short and simple as presented here in the chapter. Mrs. Ruzick was given a chance to comment on the Nutgate portion of the story for the book, and she declined. That's something I completely understand. It also mentions that Shanann had mentioned in a text to a friend that maybe she had gone too far this time, and perhaps she had been willing to mend fences. That kind of sounds familiar to me from the discovery, something that kind of alluded to that. I think it was more towards how she was hard on Chris about it than what went on between Chris's family and herself. So this chapter felt like I already heard about it between the discovery and Cindy Watts' book that leaked. And I know I sound like an ungrateful brat, but it was a little bit disappointing. I'll end the video here, and I'll pick up chapter 5 in the next one. Much love and peace. Thank you for listening.